Good morning, Year 11, and welcome today to your screencast for the Health and the People topic, so your medicine topic. And today we are going to look at the Great Plague, which links to your set of flashcards 11. The Great Plague was in 1665 to 1666, so that puts it within the Renaissance period, which, remember, is 1500 to 1750. And if we are thinking about the themes, our three themes of medicine in terms of disease, surgery and public health, we can definitely link this to disease. Disease is probably the main one here that we can link it to, but also there is links to public health and how it impacts the entire population of England, of London to be fair. So, the Great Plague then. The Great Plague is a repeat of the bubonic plague. So it's a repeat of the Black Death. So the Black Death was in the medieval period in 1348. So this is just a repeat of it in 1665. And it was the bubonic part of the Black Death. So remember, there's the bubonic and the pneumonic. So the bubonic is where fleas on rats jumped onto rats. The rats came to England via boat. The rats ran around, jumped. The fleas jumped from humans, the fleas jumped from rats to humans, and then the humans were bitten by the fleas and the humans got infected. So they did not understand what was causing it, so they didn't know this, so they had no idea that this was the cause. And then you also have the other cause of the Black Plague, the Great Plague, which is the pneumonic, in 1665, where you've got fever and coughing, and that also spreads the plague. So ultimately, the symptoms are exactly the same as the Black Death. So you've got buboes, fever, and obviously being sick there. So what did contemporaries then believe about the cause of the Great Plague? So contemporaries believed that it was either God or miasma, so we've got smelly air there. And as a result, what they tried to do to either prevent or cure was the following. So they used to cut up puppies and stick them onto the buboes, so this was a way of prevention. This is a way of curing, or they thought was curing the buboes. We've got praying to God, which is working for prevention, so stopping yourself getting the disease or curing yourself when you've got the disease. And sponge-soaked vinegar to stop the miasma, which would be a form of prevention because you stop smelling the miasma supposedly and you won't get the infection. Obviously, again, none of these work. And then we move on to some methods that did actually work. So if we think back to the Black Death, they had no understanding of how the Black Death was caused, no understanding of the prevention of the Black Death, and no understanding how to cure the Black Death. However, the Great Plague, there was some kind of advancements, I would say, when managing this disease. And one was that the government stopped some transmission of the disease, so stop the disease spreading. So they prevented the disease from spreading. And how did they do this? Well, the people, the diseased, were kind of looked out for. So women were paid to hunt the diseased. We can also see here that the diseased were locked in their houses for 40 days, and a red cross was put on the house. And finally, we've got the idea here of quarantine coming in, which is one that everyone kind of seems to remember. The quarantine law in 1665 mean that boats had to quarantine. And quite a few of these, and this is really important, stopped the spread, or stopped some of the spread But they did not understand, the contemporaries did not understand why. But they did not understand why. And they didn't understand why because they didn't understand what had caused the Black Death. So really, this all here is all chance. They didn't understand it, but they got absolutely lucky with what they introduced. And because it worked, that was kind of the method they worked forwards with. Now, it's really important that we understand that 1/4 of Londoners died from this disease. So, really, really heavy statistics here. And if we remember, there's going to be more detail on your flashcards about this, but Charles II kind of fleeing, showing the kind of harmful nature of the disease and the fact that they couldn't stop it. Also, a big misconception from this topic was that you all say that dirt causes the Black Death, or that contemporaries understanding that dirt, dirt is bad, or beginning to think that dirt is bad, is, solving the Black Death. It's not. They do make the link. So they make the link between dirt and disease. But, again, it's not relevant to the Black Death, to the Great Plague, really. You could say that the rats were more attracted to dirty areas, I guess. But again, they didn't know about the rats. So what's the most important thing to remember here is that contemporaries did not understand the cause of the Black Death. And if we go back and we think about our themes of medicine here, so Ron Weasley is ginger, that's so crackingly cool. I'd be looking at religion as a part of the Great Plague, we can see that there. War isn't. Individuals, you could link it with Charles II. Government action as well. Technology and science, not particularly. Communication, not particularly either. But chance, absolutely. The chance that the government took in terms of these prevention, the fact that it actually worked, such as quarantining people, for example. They didn't know that would work for sure. They didn't know why it would work, but they took that risk anyway.